Hi, it's Lane, the Nebraska guy, like you didn't know. Anyways, I'm at work, so it's sit and wait, sit and wait, sit and wait. So what do you do when you're sitting and twiddling your thumbs? Read and study scripture. I do that. I read. Of course, I scan Facebook and YouTube probably more than I should. But trucking is just an industry of sitting and waiting. Yeah, you drive for miles in between customers, picking up and dropping off. But it is a big waiting game. And so an hour here, an hour there. There's days when I was flatbedding, there was times where I'd be waiting to pick up shingles up in Shakopee, Minnesota. And you'd sit there all day. You'd be there all day waiting for a load. Now we got to talk about pay. When I was doing that job, I got paid a percentage of the load, which I was going broke doing. So when I changed jobs, I went to an outfit that didn't pay by the mile, because that's another avenue, is to be paid by the mile. And that's as a company driver, not as an owner-operator. But with the company I'm with right now, technically they pay by the hour. So whether you're sitting or driving, you're getting paid. There's different scales for sitting and driving that you get paid. But at least you're getting paid for all the time you're in the truck. But it's an industry that they always are looking for drivers. And I heard another trucker say this, and I believe it's true too. They're like, oh, we have a shortage of drivers, and we have a shortage of drivers. And we're seeing all these folks from other countries driving in the United States. A lot of them can't even speak English, let alone read English. So how they're getting that ability to drive here is beyond me. But that's how they keep the wages down, so that they don't have to pay drivers that much. Is they just keep on bringing basically cheap labor in to drive trucks. So, you lose experience, safety. You've heard of some of these major accidents. Oh man, people are dying in pileups and everything else, and it's usually somebody, that's not very experienced. The other scary thing out there is other drivers, like in private vehicles. And what I see a lot of is they're on their phone, driving down the interstate on their phone. I was in St. Louis one time, 5 lanes in the interstate, going both directions, 5 lanes. And I happened to be in the middle lane during rush hour, and it's like 65 miles an hour through there or something like that. And I was behind a guy in his car that was doing like 45. But since I was in the middle lane, the traffic on both sides of me was moving at 65, and it was heavy. So I was stuck behind this guy, because as a semi, you just can't get up and go that fast. And I never had a slot big enough to get into. But finally, after quite a while, I had an opportunity to get around him. And I looked over, and sure enough, he's doing 45 miles an hour because he's on his phone. His focus is on his phone. So we deal with some crazy stuff out here. I've seen some crazy stuff, some bad accidents. I've seen truckers killed. I've seen motorcyclists killed. So it's a hard industry. I think going back to pay, we don't get, at least maybe some union guys do. I don't get overtime. So you work a 70-hour week or whatever, there's no overtime. You get paid the same base wage all the way through. And I really wish they would make it mandatory to pay overtime, because it's not really fair. Every other industry gets time and a half and double time depending on overtime and working weekends and all this other stuff, and drivers don't. We don't get that. So we sell our time cheap. And, we do get to see the country. We do get to see the country, but we deal with a lot of idiots out here. So just a few few insights from an old truck driver. Anyways, I'm Lane, the Nebraska Barefoot Guy. Bye.